this. If I'd have said this or you'd have said this, Rita, I'm sure Keir Starmer and his police force would take a different view. But of course, I don't believe a word of it. First of all, it's perfectly true that the last Conservative government lost control of the borders. Absolutely true. It's also true, though, that Keir Starmer has lost control of the borders. Almost 1,000 people came in a couple of days ago, in one day alone, on the illegal crossings across the Channel, on boats organized by criminal gangs. When he says that it's not a right to land in Britain and just stay, he's right. It's just something anyone can do, however. It's just something that nobody in his government or his border force are doing anything.
Starmer is the embodiment of bland, like a cold, bitter cup of tea, no flavor, no warmth, served in a chipped mug proudly labeled centrism. Charisma. Not on his resume. But Douglas Murray didn't come to nibble politely at that tepid tea. He stormed in like a live-wire hurricane, splattering Starmer's safe, beige politics with relentless sarcasm and unflinching truth. On live TV, Starmer froze, caught like someone who showed up with a notebook to a demolition, completely outmatched and exposed under the heat of Murray's precision strike.
Actual desire to tar anyone who has, as I say, not got a voice and is wanting to make their voice heard as a violent far-right neo-Nazi seems to me to be a big error by Keir Starmer and others. Because, if you can't say, we recognize your deep concerns about some things that have happened, including mass stabbings, terrorism, and much more. We understand your deep concerns, and we are going to try to get onto this and on top of this. But there is no excuse to turn out on the streets and be violent against your Muslim brothers and sisters and neighbors or anyone else. If they can't say that, they just cannot say it. They just have to go to the secondary thing.
Starmer's so-called political strategy is pure performance art. Every morning he stares in the mirror and asks, how can I outbore myself today? It's like he's vying for the part of generic Britishman in a BBC drama nobody wanted. His version of leadership. Not left, not right, not anything, just relentlessly dull, like soggy mashed potatoes left out to rot.
While we've got Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, well, he's in danger of being arrested with some of the commentary he's been tweeting. Douglas, extraordinary stuff. He seems to be morphing into Donald Trump if his work on X is to be believed. In the past couple of weeks, he's posted about coming for illegal immigrants. He said he'll put Britain first and end the reliance to cheap overseas labour that's taking jobs from Brits. He posted, if you want to live in the UK, you should speak English. That's common sense. Bravo. He also said settlement in the UK is a privilege. That has to be earned. It's not a right. And he also said this about strong borders, that the Tories lost control of our borders and let net migration soar to record levels, undercutting hardworking Brits. I won't stand for it, Douglas.
Douglas Murray doesn't do dull. He arrived like a storm, loaded with a flamethrower of facts, a scalpel-sharp wit, and zero tolerance for nonsense. Starmer didn't stand a chance. He was ghosted live on air, drifting through the studio like a lost figure, crushed under the weight of missed opportunities and the cold shadow of his own uninspired politics.
The actual desire to tar anyone who has, as I say, not got a voice and is wanting to make their voice heard as a violent far-right neo-Nazi seems to me to be a big error by Keir
Starmer trying to sell himself as Britain's savior is almost cute, if it weren't so painfully comic. It's like watching someone wave a tea towel at the Titanic and hope it'll hold. You can see he thinks he means well, but the disaster isn't just coming, it's already in motion. His grand plan. A faint step above the Tories' misfires. Bold move, Cotton. Let's see how that plays out.
It's happened again. Keir Starmer is again tweeting like he's Donald Trump, an angry Donald Trump. He posted, you have every right to be angry about small boat crossings. I'm angry too. And he's promised all sorts of action there. But Douglas, the number of people claiming asylum in the UK in the past year in 2024 was the highest since records began. They're not really doing much to solve this issue.
Under Starmer, Labour went from occasionally fired up to a political risk avoidance squad for a local council. Thrilling. He's the kind of leader who'd tackle a national crisis by forming a subcommittee, booking a consultation, and issuing a memo everyone, including him, ignores. Immigration chaos. Rising inflation. Public sector strikes. His strategy is clear: hide under a duvet with headphones and hope reality loses interest.
What do you offer?
Revenge, with knives. We don't give a damn anymore.
Who dies first?
Keir Starmer.
Douglas Murray wasn't having it. He shredded the empty platitudes, the focus group approved leadership, and Starmer's audacity to call himself a man with a plan, when the only thing he's ever led is a committee devoted to offending nobody. Predictably, it failed. People are still furious, now just bored too. And let's not forget Starmer's unrivaled skill in saying nothing at length. He could headline a TED Talk on verbal wallpaper and still get a standing ovation from centrists who think decisive action is too much. He opens with, "Let me be clear," and immediately drowns the room in ambiguity so thick you'd need a compass and a Sherpa just to find the point.
An anomaly like that. Maybe Farage will blow it up. I mean, the Conservatives have blown themselves up. It'll be very hard to know what remains of them after the election. But it's a bizarre situation historically to end up in. The only country going to the left, and with real ignoramuses at the top. I can never get over the fact that David Lammy seems to believe that a man can grow a cervix if he takes the right medication.
And a man who was campaigning for us to rejoin the EU at one point. Now there's the irony there, isn't
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the irony of a Labour government which is almost certainly going to try to drag us back into the common market or something, some kind of back door or side door. The irony of that.
Douglas Murray, ever the surgeon, ripped back the curtain on Starmer, revealing politics driven not by conviction but by fear of headlines and lawsuits. He operates like a risk analyst at an insurance firm, careful, calculated, and utterly soulless. Leading a movement. Forget it, he's just staying out of trouble, tweaking policies with all the drama of a weather vane in a hurricane. Tuition fees. Scrapped until students don't vote. Nationalization. Sure, until corporate donations remind him where the wind blows. His memory is so selectively convenient it could be a Netflix algorithm stuck forever on grey suit politician.
Force would take a different view. But of course, I don't believe a word of it. First of all, it's perfectly true the last Conservative government lost control of the borders. Absolutely true. It's also true, though, that Keir Starmer has lost control.
Douglas Murray practically had a bingo card of Starmer's flip-flops and contradictions. It was part roast, part courtroom drama, exhibit after exhibit of promises quietly filed under "just kidding." Starmer's campaign slogans might as well read, "It depends, we're looking into it," or "Circumstances have changed," in other words, the political equivalent of "It's not you, it's me."
Keir Starmer says, in a tweet, "I'm angry," in order to try to placate the actual, real anger of the British public, who just, whether it's Conservative or Labour, the migration just keeps going up and up endlessly. So that just illegal boat crossings across the channel in a single day again the other day were about 1,100 people. More than 1,000 people arriving illegally in a day. I mean, what's the point of having laws? What's the point of even pretending you have borders, let alone pretending that you're angry when they're being infringed, when they're being infringed every...
Starmer treats his own party like a crime scene he's desperate to tidy. Remember when Labour actually stood for Labour? Now it's all about dodging anything that smells like principle. Workers' rights get a half-hearted nod, then silence. Union leaders are met with the enthusiasm of spotting an X in the supermarket. Left-wing party members vanish faster than bad reviews on a politician's Wikipedia page. Douglas Murray didn't just point it out, he deep-fried it and served it with a side of "This is why nobody trusts politicians." Starr treats grassroots activists like teenagers treat their parents, embarrassing reminders from the past who don't get it. By it, we mean his grand strategy to win elections by making Labour look like the Conservatives, just with slightly different fonts.
In Britain, it's not just the two-tier policing system that Keir Starmer has overseen since coming into office. It's the fact that the police, local councils, MPs, and others have all overseen this, and they've all overseen this, and it required.
When it comes to elections, Starmer's idea of campaigning is showing up, offering an awkward smile, delivering safely beige messaging, and disappearing before anyone asks a real question. He drifts through constituencies like someone avoiding an ex at a wedding, polite, brief, and painfully uncomfortable. Meanwhile, Douglas Murray unleashed a critique like a Shakespearean monologue on a flamethrower. He didn't just challenge Starmer's competence, he held up a mirror and asked, "Who even are you? Left, right, center, or just a political hologram running an experiment on how long someone can lead without ever taking a stand?" The only certainty, he's never met a fence he didn't happily sit on, cross-legged, sipping lukewarm tea.
Keir Starmer has suddenly discovered the startling news that men have a penis and women have a vagina. It is a departure from what he has said in the recent past. Indeed, he's performing quite a few backflips in this area. Let's have a look.
A woman can have a penis.
Nick, I don't think we can conduct this debate with,
Trans rights are human rights, and I support the right to self-identification. I think we need to respect the right to self-identify, and we're committed to updating the GRA to introduce self-declaration for trans people.
We don't think that self-identification is the right way forward.
Is it transphobic to say only women have a cervix?
Well, it is something that shouldn't be said. It is not right.
Starmer could be leading a revolution and somehow make it feel like an HR briefing on printer etiquette. He's the kind of leader who'd ask the status quo to shift left, only if everyone agrees and no one raises their voice. Risk? Allergic. He'd probably check with his barista to see if the cappuccino foam is politically safe. His strategy is simple: never upset anyone, a tactic charming for a cat cafe, disastrous for a country. In a moment craving authenticity, Star's relatable moments involve eating a sandwich with a knife and fork while reading a spreadsheet. Offended no one, inspired fewer. Replace him with a moderately intelligent screensaver, and the polls wouldn't even notice.
Just as I say, this is the most cynical tactic. And I, at any rate, don't believe a word of what Keir Starmer says. I have heard politician after politician, Labour and Conservative, say this for decades. They always say the same pabulum. They say when they feel like they might need to just sort of enforce the base a bit, they say these things like, "I think that people should speak English if they come to England." And everyone's meant to say, "My gosh, what an amazing breakthrough." It doesn't matter a darn if you're losing your country all the time because you don't enforce.
Douglas didn't need to raise his voice. Simply pointing out that Starmer's biggest weapon is plausible deniability did the job. "I didn't say that. I didn't promise that. I didn't mean it like that." Watching him is like seeing someone play hide and seek with their own principles. This wasn't a debate, it was a public autopsy of a political illusion. Starmer showed up late, apologized, and contributed nothing but vague intentions and recycled slogans. He doesn't challenge power, he consults a PR team before cautiously frowning. And the media. They keep framing his timid approach as strategy. Sure, because nothing screams leadership like playing political minesweeper in slow motion, carefully avoiding offense while impressing absolutely no one.
And if Starmer actually wants to demonstrate that he feels angry about this, he shouldn't just send out a tweet. He should start the forced deportation of the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people who have broken into the UK illegally. Is he going to do that?
Douglas Murray struck with surgical precision. Starmer's leadership isn't a cure for conservative chaos, it's a lullaby that puts people to sleep. When boldness is needed, he offers bureaucratic droning, like reading the budget as bedtime poetry. Someone should tell the melting glaciers he's watching safely from afar, meticulously taking notes in Excel. Douglas didn't just throw shade, he exposed the absurdity, a leader who doesn't lead, a reformer terrified of reform, and a party chief who treats his own base as the problem. Starmer's greatest feat: proving he exists without giving anyone a reason to care.
And to get into his 60s and discover that men have penises and women don't. Makes you wonder what he's done with his life. But no, of course, this is all just this. I mean, it's so pathetic watching him wriggle like that. He failed to stand up for his very brave female MP, Rosie Duffield, when she simply stated biological fact. He spent a long time doing exactly what we saw him do in one of those interviews, which is, well, it might be true, but we shouldn't say it, as if facts are sort of offensive, and always this dance. It reminds me of the sort of the religious wars of the 14 and 1500s, when people were sort of forced to say things or forced to denounce things, even if they believed them. And it's like that.
At this point, Labour's slogan might as well be, "We might do something, eventually." The manifesto reads like a legalistic horoscope, all vague promises and conditional maybes. Meanwhile, Starmer acts like courage is a contagious disease he's fully vaccinated against. Douglas Murray simply held up a mirror, and Starmer vanished like a vampire in daylight. When your leadership resembles a soggy risk assessment, a little sunlight is all it takes. Sure, Starmer has big plans, probably buried in a PDF full of disclaimers and focus group slogans. But his vision changes nothing, just a politely spreadsheet Britain where passion is muted and principles quietly quarantined.
I don't even know if Keir Starmer has seen these tweets. I'm sure he doesn't write them. His own Home Secretary and Foreign Secretary and others have distanced themselves from the language he's used himself. But it's just language games, Rita. That's all it is. It's language games. They don't do anything. Not in the real world. Thousands of people will continue to break into Britain every week illegally. And in the meantime, what do we have? Keir Starmer, the brave tweeter. Well, as you say, Rita, it's lucky that he's Prime Minister and not, for instance, a white or working class mother in the north of England, or otherwise he'd be...
With surgical precision and relentless wit, Douglas Murray made it unmistakably clear, Starmer isn't the future, he's political burnout incarnate. Chosen not for vision or fire, but for his uncanny ability to keep the lights dim and expectations lower. A symbol of safety over soul, his greatest conquest is crushing enthusiasm. Credit to Douglas for doing what few dare, ripping the wallpaper off Westminster and exposing the rot beneath. If Starmer really is Britain's best alternative, the problem isn't just the Tories, it's the entire script. And somewhere, he's still drafting another statement that says nothing, offends no one, and solves absolutely nothing. Classic.